Hey, wrestling fans, this is the Golden Boy Chick Donovan right here in LaGrange, Georgia. So give me back my pro wrestling. I want it back now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
For those who don't know, now you know, baby. This is Hot Rod Biggs, Jared, Jimmy Street. We're going to take them to the limit one more time, baby, right here on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one more time to the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast, and it is me, your host, Jimmy Street, and happy to be here with you all today. I hope you all are doing well out there in listener land. We have an incredible one today, guys, because today we welcome the one and only Golden Boy Chick Donovan to the show. That's right, Chick Donovan, guys. Legendary name, been around. Chick is actually the oldest current pro wrestler that is still active today and still going strong. He actually has something cool coming up in New York this weekend, so very cool to get to talk to him, and very grateful for that, to be able to talk to a guy like Chick who's had such an illustrious history. Cannot wait to get into that, so y'all stick around for that. Of course, Chick is here today because of our buddy Nick in Captain's Corner, and that's, of course, he's going to be at the GrappleCon 4 Back to Lutz, April 11th, Residence Inn, Tampa Suncoast Parkway, 2101 North Point Parkway, Lutz, Florida. Guys, it's going to be the Mountie. It's going to be our buddy Lord Humongous. I hope y'all enjoyed that. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. Jerry the King Lawler, Dutch Mantell. I mean, just a cavalcade of stars. The Demon, Phineas and Henry Godwin, and many more to be named very soon. So y'all just keep an eye on the Captain's Corner Facebook page for all the information. Of course, talking about Captain's Corner once more, it's the Portland Wrestling Expo 2, Saturday, February 21st, Holiday Inn, Portland Airport, 8439 Northeast Columbia Court, Portland, Oregon. Guys, you've heard us talking about it for months now. If you don't have your tickets, I don't know what you're waiting on. If you're gonna go, you need to get on it, guys. So once again, Saturday, February 21st, do not miss the Portland Wrestling Expo. You know, we've talked to all the stars: Joey Jackson, Paul Ellering, Ken Patera, so many more. Maybe we're not even done with that yet. So I know time is running out, and it's running out for us too, but when it comes down to it, we may not be done just yet with stars for the Portland Wrestling Expo 2. Y'all stick around for that. Don't want to give anything away. Of course, I brought it up just a second ago, but guys, last episode, rave reviews. Let's just say that. All our buddies, all our friends, the listeners that really contact us and let us know what they think, all the reviews are in for the last episode we had. Jeff Van Camp, of course, he is known as Lord Humongous. Honestly, I still stand by it. I think it's one of our favorite episodes that we've done. It just clicked. Everybody was on it. Really appreciate you, Jeff. Once again, thank you, Nick, for hooking that one up. Gotta say thank you, guys. Jeff's a great guy. Y'all go check that one out if you haven't already. And by the looks of it, a lot of you have. So if there's anybody left, any stragglers, get on that show, listen to it. Lord Humongous, Jeff Van Camp. What an interesting story he's got. So last thing today, guys, I just want to give a shout out to my brother, the Plastic Sheik, Jared Street, for his chic shorts that he does for us, especially right now on the reels on Facebook, because they have been blowing up and doing great for us lately. And honestly, Sheik took over the videos a while back, and he's done an incredible job for us, even starting back on Live and in Color. He takes that part of what we do off my plate, and I can't thank him enough. And his work is showing, because lately we've added quite a few new followers on Facebook because of his videos, so greatly appreciate that, Sheik. He's probably had it up to here with my middle of the night texts with clips and ideas and pictures and videos, but love you, bro. Thank you, Sheik. You do an incredible job with those videos. We greatly appreciate it, and thank you for helping grow this this little thing we like to call a podcast here. All right, guys, that's all I got for the opening. Sheik and Quinton are joining me on the other side with the one and only golden boy, Chick Donovan. We'll be right back after these messages on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Hey, my name is Tammy Reynolds. I am the wife of Forsaken Rick Reynolds, that super cool guy that everybody knows and loves. And I represent West Side Sauces. I make sauces, I bottle them, I seal them, I sell them. I have a hot honey sauce, I have a sweet sauce, I have a hot sauce, I have a white sauce that's so yummy you can use it on everything. They are absolutely amazing and I'm so proud of them. We make them from scratch. So go on our website, westsidesauces.com, check out our products, read about our story, and go online and order you some of these yummy sauces. And Rick actually uses all of the sauces because he is a die-hard smoker and griller, and so he likes really good sauces and rubs, and I make them, so how convenient is that for him? Go on our website, westsidesauces.com, order you some samples, and I think you'll thoroughly enjoy them. Thank you, guys. Be blessed.
All right, we are back with one more awesome episode of the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast. And guys, this is an incredible one. This is this is a golden one, you might say. Today, we have the one and only golden boy Chick Donovan on the show. Sir, it is an amazing honor to have you. Thank you for coming on.
Well, it's a great honor for me to be on. I'm hitting that 79 now, so it's coming towards the end of my career, and I got to go to New York this coming weekend. So I got to go out there and I started. So I've been working really hard, training hard in the gym twice a day to get to be better going out than I was when I started.
Ah, brother, you are showing that work too. Let me just say that you have a great look. You always have. So
I try to lead by example. I try to always lead by example.
Yeah, well, you do that. And of course, one of the cool things that you're here today to talk about is our buddy Captain's Corner is going to be GrappleCon 4 back to Lutz, and that's April 11th, Residence Inn, Tampa Suncoast Parkway, 2101 North Point Parkway, Lutz, Florida. How long has it been since you've been to Lutz?
Well, when I was working out of Tampa, I think I went to Lutz 2 or 3 times. I think maybe we wrestled a couple of times. I met a friend over there, and so I went a few times, but mainly to stay around Tampa.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I'm sure you're excited all about the GrappleCon, though, right? Oh,
yes, sir. Always get excited about being in that square circle to help, to entertain those folks, man. 'Cause I love the fans. They're the ones who make who you are. And look, take those emotions and you bring them up, bring them down, and just make them feel better when they leave.
Yes, sir. You do a great job.
And sometimes you need to leave. Well, in a big show, you got to leave them out mad. You can't let them out happy. You got to leave them out mad.
There you go.
That's the psychological part of wrestling. You got to leave them mad so they won't come back and see the guy get beat up.
Yeah.
That's the thing about that. But
they've forgotten all about that these days. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of that emotion now has been lost through all these high spots or finishes for high spots. It just changed over the years. And everything changed to some degree. You just kind of have to go with the flow. Yeah. In 79, I certainly don't do too much off the top rope anymore. But I'm just a wrestler. I keep on my feet, and I just do the wrestling moves, man. Like I was taught back in the 70s with Ole Anderson and Gordon Soley, rest his soul, and all the boys there, the Masked Superstar, Bob Armstrong, and name one after another. They were all wrestlers, boy. That's who I was raised with. Ivan Koloff was one of my mentors. Wrestling number 2, he's the one that gave me my name, the Golden Boy, Chick Donovan. Or gave me not Chick Donovan, he gave me the Golden Boy. Wrestling 2 gave me that.
Okay.
And I'd always wear some colored shoestrings in my boots. I had trunks, and when they had gold on one night in the restaurant, he said, "You ought to be the Golden Boy." I said, "Yes, sir." So he was one of my mentors. I always listen to him closely and just follow his instructions.
Well, you might have just answered this question, but we always start every show off with the Plastic Sheik, and that he's finally here, the co-host that was late.
I'm here.
That's okay. But he's got his first question. You might have just answered it. Take it away, Sheik.
So we were getting some insight into like your
your mentors and who maybe inspired you and everything like that. But if you had to list 4 or 5 names in the business that you would consider like a Mount Rushmore, who would those names be?
Ivan Koloff.
Very good.
Mr. Wrestling number 2.
Yeah.
Bill Eadie.
Oh, yeah.
Bob Armstrong, Brad Armstrong, Ricky Steamboat. I'm trying to think. He owned him he's from Noonan. Paul Orndorff, passed away now, but he was quite a Christian guy, and so was Steamboat. Ric Flair, he's the man. He'll always be the man in my eyes. We had a heck of a good match time I worked with him. But been so many, I think, helped me through my career. But Ivan Koloff and Wrestling 2 were probably the strongest mentors I think I may have had through coming up through the 50 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a great list. Great list, sir.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so we're going to start with your wrestling career now. So, who trained you? What year? And where did you train at?
Well, in Macon, Georgia, I was a firefighter there for a long time and worked 4 full-time jobs. I worked 3 hospital jobs in the fire department next, so 24 hours a day, 7 days a week I was working. I was probably down to about 120 pounds. I was working those 4 hours. For a couple of years, I worked those 4 hours, around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I built a new home and stuff there in Macon, so, and I had opportunities to work at all the different hospitals, mental hospitals, paramedic work. In fact, we started the EMS program in Georgia, not to get on. Yeah, it's another story. But in Macon, Georgia, there was a guy named Grady Odom. He had an advertisement in the newspaper for wrestlers. I said, man, I think I want to be a wrestler. It was around 1975 or so. And everybody's telling me, you can't be no wrestler. Ain't no way you can be no wrestler. 50 years later, I'm going to the book in the Book of World Records as the oldest wrestler still wrestling. Now, the point of that is you can do whatever you want to do. Ain't nobody can stop you but yourself. If you want to do something and you want to do it, you go do it. You just put the work in and accomplish it. But ain't nobody can stop you. I had to walk to Atlanta TV one morning because I didn't have a car. They can't stop me from getting out. I walked all my baggage, walked up Highway 75 from Macon, Georgia, made TV that morning at TBS. They can't stop you unless you let somebody, unless you stop yourself, brother. You have to put that mindset. Ain't nobody gonna stop me from doing nothing. Of course, you gotta keep that in the proper perspective too. You can be on the B side or the A side. You always gotta stay on the A side and work for the Lord on that Lord side. But you just you get your mind made up, and nobody can stop you. Whatever you want to create, you're gonna create it. If you don't know how, ask somebody. If you got a work ethic, they'll show you exactly how to do that. As long as you do the work.
Yeah.
I got a question. Okay, you said Grady Odom. I've heard the name. Did he, like in '79, did he go into Pensacola, Mobile area, and run opposition against the Fullers for about 6 months?
I would say probably so. I'd already gone and was on the road in TBS at that time. Ole had already hired me, but he may have, because he was a big time NWA guy and had aspirations of all whatever's. But he did a lot of. We did a lot of work a lot of places. So, like I said, he may have, but I don't know for sure.
Okay, all right,
got it.
But he's passed away now, and but he gave me my start. We had a school, and we trained every night, hour after hour after hour. But it was good.
Yeah, that's all.
So this next question is about your first match ever that you remember. What name did you go by, and who was it against, and where was it at?
Well, I was always been Chick Donovan. We could get Chick Donovan. I think I mentioned it sometime earlier this evening.
Yeah.
But my granddad was a professional boxer back in the 30s, and they called him Chick. His middle name was Donovan, so they was called Chick Donovan. So I picked that name up when I was in high school doing band stuff and signing autographs and doing whatever. I started using the name Chick Donovan. He really liked it, and he followed me. He came from Baltimore, all over the country where I was at, to come to the matches and stuff, like in Augusta, different places. And he really enjoyed me using his name, I think. And I always been proud of my granddad, Chick Donovan. Man.
Yeah, definitely. And who was the first match against?
First match, let me see. It was actually on the independent side. It was one of the independent guys. I think he's passed away now, but Joe, I can't remember his last name now, but he did the wrestling number 2 gimmick. He loved wrestling. He loved Johnny Walker, and he looked kind of like him. He had the robe and had everything. He worked really hard to roll up the robe and do everything just like Johnny Walker. He worked so much on the entrance and the look. He didn't have the endurance to wrestle a match. Was the bad thing about it.
Oh, God.
But two didn't like it. Two didn't like it too much. But a lot of the got Bill Eady and those guys had to carry him because he put so much in that entrance that. But he looked so much like him. Jim Barnett at TBS with Ole was doing the booking. Jim Barnett wanted Wrestling 2 off the TV. It had been there so long. He said, Ole, just get that 2 off my TV, will you? So next week, it wasn't 2, but it was Joe was on the TV.
Oh.
Barnett said, Ole, will you please get that Wrestling 2 off my TV? I asked, but it was Joe. He looked so much like him. And then, he's doing it, and then they ended up blah, blah, blah. And then 2 didn't like it too much, so it didn't go too far. But it was a heck of a deal there for a few weeks anyway.
Yeah.
Was that Joe Powell?
Joe Powell, yes, sir. Well, sure was.
Okay.
But he was my first match. He worked with Grady. We had some independent matches around, and but I was the baby face and he was the heel, and we always had some good matches together.
Okay.
Stuff.
But he passed away some years. I don't know how long ago now, but it's been some years ago he passed away.
All right. So, who were some of the guys you worked in Georgia Championship Wrestling, the first run you had there? Who were some of your guys you worked with?
Well, Brad Armstrong, at WWE. Well, this is in Atlanta. Let's see. All the top guys they had. Every top guy that was around the state of Georgia and now in New York, not New York, but Charlotte and all around, because all that was going around. They were going in and out all the time anyway.
Yeah.
So I worked with all of these Flair and all. I worked with all the top guys, which gave me a lot of insight on how to work all these different styles, because I had to follow each one of their styles. So I learned all these different ways to do the same thing. So, but I was really fortunate to be able to work with all those guys to have such a background, I think, in the business.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So in '79, you did some matches in Florida. How did you get those bookings?
Well, once you hit that TV, you're there, and your name just gets out. And
okay, yeah.
But I think, and let's see, one of my first matches was Bob. Bob brought me down there, and they ran in Dothan, and then Tallahassee was the next night. I had one of Brad's first matches, I think, there in the Alabama town. Then we went to the Florida town, and it was Superstar Billy Graham, the Mongolian Stomper, and 2 or 3 of the other guys who were, they were gone. That was some of their last matches they had. That was pretty neat. Billy Graham had an old dirty towel with about 20 chicken breasts he ate before he got in the ring. So it was like Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant would probably drink a case of beer or the fifth of vodka before he go in the ring.
Wow.
Sitting in the dressing room. But hey, boss, he was quite a guy. He was a good man, though. Andre was a good man.
That's awesome. That's
another good man in the business was Terry Bollea. Hulk Hogan was a good man.
Rest in peace.
In all the years I worked out with him in the gym and worked on the road and all his wrestling, I never heard him say an ugly word, and that's so unusual in that group not to have that ugly language.
Yeah,
but I never heard him say an ugly word. That's good to his credit. He had faith. He had Christ's faith. He had Christ in his heart.
I believe so too. And yeah, right.
But Hogan was Terry was a really super guy. He came into Atlanta in '79, and it's Terry Bollea, and I had his first TV match. I was still a firefighter at that time. I had the brown hair and the kind of long sideburns, but his first match on TV was that day.
That's awesome.
But we grew to not close friends, but we worked out together in the gym a lot, and he always respected me, and I always respected him. But he was a big boy.
Yeah,
good man.
No doubt. Yeah.
So in June of 1980, you end up in NWA Hollywood. What are some of the memories of working there?
Hollywood, was that in California?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
In '80, I was in '80 in California and in Louisiana too. I think somewhere some kind of. Yeah, I worked for Mike LaBelle, and this is a little story. And the Olympic Auditorium in California was the famous place for all the movies with film. Where Hogan worked in the in the ring there with the First Blood.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of his name. That's how one of the things that got Hogan over working that movie. But I was in the
Rocky
same room there in the
yeah.
Olympic Auditorium. But Mike LaBelle liked the old Gorgeous George, all the fancy whatever. So he had me go in the ring on Mitch's shoulders, and I had all the gold and all the stuff and all the grandeur. When the bell rang, it died. I couldn't catch my no Guerrero in a 20-foot ring. So my point of that, the whole point of that story is maybe to any other guys trying to get in the business and want a gimmick, you can't out gimmick your work. Your work has got to be first, and your work will dictate what kind of gimmick you need, what kind of lifestyle, what kind of wrestling lifestyle you want to try to represent. But your wrestling's got to come first, and that will tell you what you need to be. You can't be something like these crazy gimmicks, out of it ain't real. You got to be your gimmick, and your gimmick's got to be you. I'm the Golden Boy, and the Golden Boy is me. Ric Flair is Ric Flair, and Flair is him. He is who he is.
He's the Nature Boy, yeah.
And he's the Nature Boy is Ric Flair. I mean, they're one and the same. I'm one and the same.
Right.
I know the difference between Chick Donovan. I know the difference between humility and arrogance. So I know that the arrogance don't go nowhere. You got to stay humble with whatever you do, because the people are the one who make you.
Right.
People make you a superstar. You don't make yourself. You just satisfy the people's needs, and they'll make you. But you always got to keep them and coming in. In first in your and those that you give credit to is the people who make you.
Absolutely.
All right. So in February of '81, you show up in Mid-South for Bill Watts. How did you get up there? And you got any good stories from working for Bill Watts? Well,
let's see. Bill Watts didn't like little guys too much. That's where Ellering was doing a weightlifting thing. Them boys were lifting 600 pounds back in those days, and 650 pounds, unbelievable amounts of weight. But Ellering ripped his chest off at Fox's Gym in Louisiana. And to retro a little bit, or go ahead from there a little bit, we were in the dressing room when Animal came from Minnesota. I don't think Hawk was there yet, but Animal was there and Ellering was there. And the Legion of Doom was on the TV in the cartoon. The Legion of Doom was on TV. So we're watching in the room there. And they say, well, that's what Otis said. You boys now are the Legion of Doom, and you're a manager. Mm-hmm. He put Ellering as their manager. Ellering had the newspaper, the New York Times, or whatever he used. But he couldn't wrestle anymore because that ripped his chest off. It was quite an injury.
Yeah.
And anyway, that's how the Road Warriors got started. The Legion of Doom was there, in the chat room, whatever you want to call it, where setup room or something, other way you want to call it, boss's room.
Yeah, the office or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
The kayfabe room, I guess. I don't know. Unless you're one of the boys and the clique, you kayfabe, man.
Yeah.
You got to be in the clique. You got to be in the clique and to be in that room.
Yeah, that's what we've heard. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, this is a popular topic for every one of our podcasts because our listener base loves Memphis, but you end up in Memphis. So tell us, talk about getting to Memphis and then, just your thoughts on Memphis starting out.
I'll step back just a moment to California. The referee I had in California was named Red Shoes Dugan. Yeah. He refereed the original Gorgeous George. He was a policeman at that time, but now he's retired. But he had my match, and I had all these different gimmicks. To get to a story, this is the start of a story here. This is the start of getting to Memphis. I had all these different gimmicks to wear. I don't know, one thing or another. And I asked Red Shoes, what should I wear tonight? This, that, the other. He said, always wear all your gimmicks. You never know who's watching. So on TBS, I had all my gimmicks, the wrestling Tommy Rich, boom, boom, boom. And Memphis, they liked the gimmicks, but so Jerry Jarrett called me. He saw that match on TV, so he called me because he liked the gimmicks. So that's what put me in Memphis in 1981. That's when I had to throw my knee out and whatever, and then this, that, and the other. But that's what got me in. Wearing all my gimmicks got me to Memphis.
And is that where you
run with the first family in Memphis? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, you did. Is that where you first started using the Golden Boy, or had you used that already?
No, the Golden Boy started back even before those days when I was still a fireman.
Okay, gotcha.
And like I said, in the dressing room, wrestling too, said you ought to be called the Golden Boy. And that was in the 70s, 79. That was before I went on the road anyway. I was still a firefighter at that time. So and I just created that, went on, ran with it, and started wearing gold sparkle shoes. Everything there's Golden Boy now. I wear gold trucks and all. I'm the gimmick.
That's awesome. Yeah. Please keep going with it.
Yeah.
So what's your memories of being in Jimmy Hart's first family?
Well, I heard my interview I did on TV, and Jimmy came. I was doing an interview. I lost the match to Steve Kern, and I was real pitiful. I was down in the dumps, and I heard the reviews of that interview was That was the worst acting I've ever heard when I heard. But yeah, I was serious. I'm hanging my boots in the old Coke, whatever the deal was. And then Jimmy comes out, bum, 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 you ought to come with me. I'll make you a superstar and all kind of stuff. So I started singing We Are Family with Jimmy Hart, and we went off together. So that was they put me with the family, first family. I mean, that picture in the book that Jimmy wrote too. With the first family with Kevin Sullivan, which just passed away. Danny Davis was in it. Ed Allen was the best first match ever in wrestling. He's passed away now. And Honky Tonk Man, Wayne Ferris was in it.
Yep.
Let's see, and I can't think of one other guy was there. But it was quite a group. Jimmy Hart was quite an innovator of wrestling, and between him and Lawler, they made they put Memphis on the map.
Yeah,
for sure.
You said Ted Allen. I love Ted Allen. He was such a super guy.
Incredible. Yeah. So that Ted Allen, I got a car, right? We're going on the road, sometimes we try to ride together, but I got a car with air conditioning, right? My car's got air conditioning. He wouldn't ride with me because that air conditioner used more gas than his truck with no air conditioning. He would not ride with me because it cost him more trans because I had air conditioning. Another thing about Ted, he didn't want to buy, when I have matches, I have cases of water in the cooler with ice and all the stuff. But what he would do, he'd take a 5-gallon bucket, a 5-gallon jug or gallon jug, fill it with water from the sink, put it out. When it was drank all up, he'd put it back in the sink and fill it back up again. He wouldn't spend the money for the ice. I know when he died, I went to his funeral. He was sitting at $10,000 casket. I know if he could have looked up and saw it, he would have got out of that casket and got in a wooden box. I know.
Pine box.
But if you want to know anything about wrestling, you ask him. He had all the rings. He knew all the guys. Had all the numbers. He had anything you want to know about wrestling. Ted Allen had it. But again, Ted Allen had such a wrestling ability. He was a great first match. The first match used to be 7 or 8, 10 minutes at the most, and nothing but wrestling. Which it's lost all that. All that's gone now. But he was a great first match, and he would always come in. I had on every one of my matches when I run shows. He'd come and wrestle and bring the ring and set up for $250, and then you couldn't beat that.
No,
he was on every my show, and he'd always bring his ring. Had the chairs too, so that was always good with Ted. He had everything you'd ever need in wrestling.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. We'll be right back with more. Give me back my pro wrestling.
Are you sick of the cold? Well, Captain's Corner is here to bring the heat for the start of 2026. The Portland Wrestling Expo returns to the Holiday Inn Portland Airport on Saturday, February 21st, featuring Hall of Famers such as The Godfather, Precious Paul Ellering, Ken Patera, international superstar Minoru Suzuki, and a reunion of stars from the Don Owens territory, including the Grappler, Dr. Tom Pritchard, and Chief Jules Strongbow. This is the one event not to miss in the Pacific Northwest. Then on Saturday, April 11th, we'll be presenting the spring breakout event of the year. It's Glory Days GrappleCon 4, taking place at the Residence Inn Tampa Suncoast. We're excited to present Gimmick Mania, featuring Jerry the King Lawler, the Mountie Jacques Rougeau, the Godwins, Nikita Koloff, the Shockmaster, and over a dozen other superstars. Make sure to follow us on Captain's Corner on Facebook and Instagram for updates on both of these events and much more in 2026. Cheers to the working man.
You mentioned just a second ago. Tell us about the injury you had in Memphis and how it happened, and just tell us a little about that.
Well, I was doing TV, and then something happened. I went to go across the ring, and my knee just blew out. So I worked the rest of that match, and that night I had to work 2 matches in the town wherever we had to go through that night in Memphis. So I worked 3 matches where the knees were really bad. Then I started taping it up. I taped it up and whatever, and keep going. Then I went to the doctor, and they put a cast on it, a whole leg cast. So I went and bought me about a dozen tuxes from Gingus's. The old used ones, you can get them for 4 or 5. You can get those shirts $5 or $6, and all the tuxes for almost nothing. So I had about 6 or 7 or 8, 9, 10 tuxes. I wore the matches every night as the manager.
Yeah.
And I was going somewhere with that, and I forget. But anyway, we started managing while I had that cast on my leg. And then when I went to Dallas, I was good. Boom, 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 boom. Everything was good. And they wanted to do the angle. Well, I needed to have knee surgery, so we did the angle where the Freebirds and or Killer Khan, boom, beat my knee up, and when I had the knee surgery in Dallas. But I was out for about 6 months with that knee surgery. But I've had knee surgery since then, knee replacement since then.
Good.
But I don't know where I'm going here. But I was just one of my first TVs though in Memphis. The first time I was there in '81, I blew that knee, and that kind of held me way back. And then I went back there again in '85, and it was much better in '85.
Yeah. So, after Memphis, you wrap up in Memphis and you head down to Florida again. And now this is when Eddie Graham is still around. Do you have any stories about Eddie Graham specifically, or your time down there after Memphis?
Well, I got to Tampa this way. I did an interview with Lawler, right? Mirror on the wall, who's the fattest man of them all, and turned around with a picture of Lawler. He said, "Chick, you're going to enjoy Tampa." I was going to Tampa the next day because Jerry owned part of that territory. So I went down to Tampa, and I moved with Eddie Graham. And I didn't know really what my role was when I went down there. Was never told to get myself over or do whatever. I didn't know what to. So I had a match on TV down when I first got down there, and my probably the only real conversation I had with Eddie Graham is I went and had a match. It was a good match, but he said, "Chick, we're trying to get you over, son." I just was always pretty whatever. I want to get the other, make the other guy look good as possible, always. And then come back and be. But anyway, that was my only. He said, "Chick, we're trying to get you." And nobody ever told me before I started they were going to get me over, whatever. But anyway, that's the conversation I had with him. And then shortly later, he shot twice before he killed himself.
Man, yeah.
So we went to his arena every whatever night it was during the week. His Eddie Graham Arena back in the woods. I think in Orlando, wherever it was at. I'm not sure exactly what town, but it was a big arena back in the woods with Eddie Graham Arena, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
That was a fun place to work.
No doubt. I bet. Yeah.
So after that, you're back in Georgia, and you worked Tom Pritchard a lot. Do you back any memory of working with Tom?
Well, I worked with Tom in California when he was young, just getting started out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I ever really worked with him again in Georgia until I don't know if I ever worked with him again. I think he was somewhere else, but I worked with him on. He was a really great babyface now. He's I think probably in maybe WWF office or somewhere, still working in the business. And his brother was one of the managers there. His brother was one of the Pritchard was. I'm not sure his first name, but he was
Bruce.
He was the character in WWE at one time.
Yeah, Brother Love.
Yep.
It was a great babyface. Tom Pritchard was a good boy, really good man.
We just had Chief Jules Strongbow on recently, and he told us a story about Tom back in California because that was like his first territory. And he said that Tom would throw up before his matches. Is that true? Did you ever notice that?
Well, I was in the heel dressing room, so I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
So I don't know for sure, but Tom Nesso's dad was the one booking. He was the faster number one, I think, and then Patrick's father was assassin number two. Jody Hamill was number two. Tom Ernesto was number one, and that was the kid's dad. But Tom Ernesto was booking in California when I first went out there.
Oh, okay, very cool. Do you have any stories about Tom?
No, I worked with him in the Cow Palace and some of the different places up and down the coast in California, but not anything real particular. Now I worked with him some in Georgia here. In some independent shows. He was working with some guys, but I hadn't seen him in a long time, so I don't know what's he up to now. But he was always a good guy. Now, as a really story about his son, his son was born, but he wouldn't speak, he wouldn't talk, and he had an arrowhead. I think a cross on his forehead, which was a chieftain, but it was there. He was born with it. A chieftain symbol on his forehead, but he wouldn't talk. And I don't know if you ever heard the story. I don't want to get into it too much about the dog. I had a dog once could talk and read and do all this stuff. And he talked to the kid and got the kid talking. But that was Jules' son.
Wow. Okay.
He got his son. Now, I worked a show for somewhere down the road, somewhere out in Alabama, and his son was there. That kid was there. I think I worked with a kid. that my dog got talking back when he was a little bitty boy.
Well, you brought it up, Chick. We've got to ask about it. I mean, your talking dog is a legendary story. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, the guy from Vargas Brothers Circus called Gordon Soley in Atlanta wanted me to come, me and my wife to come to the circus in Yuma, Arizona. So we could come out there. So he asked me, we made a deal. So my wife and I sold everything off, and we kept one car and packed everything we owned in that one car and headed to Yuma, Arizona. And on the way out there, I got stopped into San Antonio and got a job with Dallas with Terry and them to start 2 months later. So I went on to the circus in Yuma. We were there, until it's time for me to go to start back in Dallas. But it was quite a deal working in the circus. All the circus people really loved my little wrestling act. But the clowns had this little puppy. He thought he was going to be able to jump through fire and all the stuff his parents did. His parents were clown dogs.
Okay.
So anyway, the clowns gave this little dog to my wife. And knowing at that time, it was Pebbles was her name. She was on some of the TV stuff. But at that time, we didn't know she could get pregnant. She had cancer so bad, she didn't, all the radiation, said she wouldn't be able to get pregnant. So anyway, the dog became like a kid. He would pull the covers down at night and put the covers back on her and whatever. And he knew nursery rhymes like Mary Had a Little Lamb, Felicia's White as Snow, or Jack and Jill. When Jack and Jill went up the hill and Jack fell down, he started crying. When he repeated all those, nobody told him. And he said, "How'd you know that?" He said, "God told me." He said, "God told me those things." So we went on the road, different places, and he would talk. It was just, he said, have a conversation with you like you would your child. And he'd go to the matches with us sometime and work for the kids a little bit here and there. But he wouldn't work for money. He worked on TV sometime, just talking this, that, and the other. But he had a puppy, and his puppy talked when he ever got mad. And he couldn't sit and have a conversation, but he'd get mad, he'd be yelling about something, Yeah, I remember we were in Florida, and Granny was visiting us in Florida, and Granny went in the house and closed the door and left him on the porch. And when Pebbles got home, the little dog was, "Mama, Granny, she walked me out." He was screaming, "She walked me out," and he was talking Granny just like that. He said, "Granny, Mama Granny locked me out." He was yelling and walked by the door, hit his head on the door. It's a damn door. but he only talked when he got excited like that. But that Chaz, you can sit down and have a conversation with him. He'd read out of books, and when he started reading, that was something real. But
that's
talking
a trip.
with everybody when he started reading, and nobody believed until he encountered him. Iceman King Parsons. He was sitting in the hotel room one night, and the dog was there with us all running around, and he said, "Hello, King Parsons." And King Parsons about fell out of the chair, man. He said, "Hello, King Parsons," just like I just said it. He said, "Hello, King Parsons." The bigger the word, the more he talked in syllables a lot, like synthesizer. The longer the word, the more you understood him. But he's talking like he was talking to a kid. He said, "Hello, Iceman about fell out of the sea." He said, "Hello, King Parsons." I never talk about him. It's too much to really believe. But I don't know. While we had him, I think just God sent him to us for some reason. I don't know. But we had him for 20 years. He finally got incognate, and so I had him put to sleep. He was went blind and kept bumping into the wall, so I went ahead and put him to sleep. But he was very special, unique. He got so much notoriety, somebody came and stole him. He got on John Boy and Billy's show, and somebody brought him back. He was national news. And I heard a lot of talk about him. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
People talk about him, but
it's
really unbelievable. He was the real deal, though. He was the real deal.
If they would have been cell phones back then, you would be a billionaire right now, Chick.
But he wouldn't work for money. He shut down, but he would just talk and with the kids and whatever. He wouldn't.
Yeah, that's correct.
I don't know. He wouldn't work. He said he wouldn't work for money.
I get it.
Whatever the deal. But Mom would be at work. I'd be outside the pool, whatever. The telephone ring. Ding, ding, ding. And Susan got home from work or whatever. She went in and said, he'd say, "Who called on the telephone?" Said, "Mama, so-and-so called." Yeah. Somebody knocked on the door and said, "Mama ain't home." Mama ain't home. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that story, Chick. Thank you.
I could say all day long about different on the road, going from California to Mexico or whatever, back around and around. but there were so many stories about him. But it was quite a treat just to have Chaz. I think it was quite a deal. But it's really kind of unbelievable.
Yeah,
I never talked about it a whole lot.
I appreciate you sharing what you did. Thank you very much.
But it was the real deal. I mean, it was the real deal. I wouldn't talk about it if he wasn't. But he liked to entertain. He liked to entertain kids.
Well, we take your word for it, brother, because you're the source. You know what I'm saying? It's like go to the horse's mouth, right? Or in this case, the dog's mouth. But anyway, keep going.
I heard Arn Anderson on the podcast was talking about the dog and whatever. But yeah, that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
But anyway.
All right, so March of 1983, you go to Japan for Baba. This was your on this tour. It was during the first Grand Championship Carnival, and you worked everybody. You worked Baba, you worked Saruta, Tenryu. Tell us about that tour.
And Stan and I worked a lot together as tag against two brothers from Florida.
The Briscoes?
No, not Briscoe, not Shaq and Jerry. No, but the other brothers. One had a big forearm. And Terry Funk.
Oh, the
Terry
Funk.
and Bob we worked. Terry we worked a lot with Bob against me and Stan Hansen. Stan was over so strong though. Stan was over, man.
No,
in Japan, we sold Tokyo Dome out 2 nights in a row. We spent 100,000 folks in it 2 nights in a row, and baseball was going on in the stadium. So it was strong. And all those little towns ran all in the bullet train to go to all this north side of Japan and all these different little towns that Bob would get in the train and run down the street with that on the microphone, blah, 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 on the microphone like a little tram going down the middle of the street of town. And people would come out at night. And one night it was probably 10 degrees out there. It was so cold. When it was so cold in the dressing room, the wrestling tights and stuff were all made out of Lycra. And one guy it was cold, but it was a pot-belly stove in the dressing room. He backed up a little close to it. Next thing was smoke. We smelled smoke, and his pants was on fire. His clothes got on fire. He backed too close to the he backed too close to the heater, and he caught his pants on fire. But it was cold, and when it was in March, it was cold in some of those towns. But and when we were in the pigsty, we were out in the pigsty in one match in a small town. It was muddy, raining, all that stuff, and Funk wanted to get thrown out in the mud. He told what's called in the match, Bobo, throw me in the mud. So he threw him out in the mud. Now, so then Malva's got to throw Stan Hansen in the mud, and he's got to drag me out with him. So we're all in the mud, everybody with Baba. And we get back in that bus, and no showers or nothing. We get back in that bus and mud everywhere, trying to go to the next town. Oh gosh! But it was quite a trip. I really enjoyed my time in Japan, and I should have been more on. I talk a lot about the point. I think along my whole career, I should have been more on point. I was in the junk a lot. I had some things that got to me that became more important than the wrestling. I went through all the motions, but I missed the point. Now I teach the point. Whatever your point is, it's your homework that night or get through the next grade, or just stay on that point and be persistent to stay on point.
I love that.
If I wrestle, if I wrestle back then like that Lord has me now on point, I'm wrestling like a 20-year-old now in the ring. Kids can't keep up with me. But he let me finish my career. He let me finish my career like I should have been doing it. I could have been a multimillionaire with the career I got now back in the days when I should have been there. Yeah. But the junk had me, and I wasn't on point as much as I should have been. And then when Vince called to come to New York, I was somewhere else. I wasn't where I should have been, and missed the call. Mm-hmm. So now I really stress when I speak to groups or kids when I talk about that point and how important it is to stay on point. And that's your future. If you don't know how to get there, you ask somebody help as long as you want to work to stay on that point.
Yeah.
But it's so important.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great advice. I love that.
Yeah.
So next up is World Class. Tell us about your time down in Texas.
Oh, that was really good. Now, if I'd have been a little smarter in those days, if I had, like I said, I was still kind of, I don't know. I just had a great physique and all, but I didn't have it between the ears like I should have, like I do now. I don't know if I didn't have the understanding, or I tried to be, starting as a fireman at TBS. I always try to be just a good guy in the dressing room, a nice guy, just to try to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that personality kind of hurt my career through the ages. So I kept that same personality where I should have been a lot stronger in certain situations where I could have had better spots probably if I'd have stood up for myself a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it was taking a bump. But I just always want to try to fit in and be whatever. But it kind of probably cost me a lot of my career. But now, like I said, the Lord has me on point now. So now I'm finishing. Now I'm coming to New York next weekend. Now I was thinking today while I was at the gym working, that's the beginning of a whole new career.
There you go.
It was the same beginning. It was the same beginning as it was 50 years ago when I was training full wrestling at 120 pounds, putting that 100 pounds on. Now I got to train a little bit harder now than I did then because I'm going out. This is my finish to go. That's my finish to go home. My finish to get out of the business. So it's got to be a lot better. It's got to be so much more than it was when I started.
Yes, sir.
So I'm working really hard right now in the gym, particularly to be at a certain level when I walk in that arena in New York. And it's going to be might be my last time there, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's got to be a beginning of a whole new career right there. That one night or one day, whatever we do there. So it means a whole lot to. I was thinking about that when I was working in the gym, how much more I got to work now because it's just the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
I've got to go out strong. I got to go out strong. Now I still got to, stay within myself.
Right.
But I can't, I don't think about it anymore. I just go out and do it.
Yeah.
When I play music, when I'm singing a song, I don't think about what the second verse is. If I try to think about it when I'm doing the first verse, then it'll never come out. I just let it happen when it gets there.
Right.
Sometimes I try to think of the second verse while I'm still doing the first verse. I have to end up making up a verse because it don't ever come out.
Right.
That's just let it happen.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to tell the kids in the ring now. I get on rambling a little bit, but tell the kids now, once you learn how to wrestle, you ain't got to go out there and call a match, all those spots, man. You ain't going to remember them anyway. You go out there and wrestle. It's action, reaction, and then you get the emotions of the people. You do action, reaction. You carry the emotions in the ring, and you carry them all around that ring with you. And that's what wrestling is. You just go out and let it happen. You let it happen, action, reaction. You can't go and think about all that stuff you call wrestling because people might not want to see it. You do what they tell you. You might want to tell them what you're going to do. So just like, for instance, I'm wrestling a guy with a beard, right? I'm the baby face, and he's got a big old beard, and he's got a big heel or whatever. And I say, pull his beard. I'm telling him, pull his beard. And then they tell me, pull his beard, pull it. So I slingshot him across the ring by his beard. So I tell them something, and they tell me, and then they say, yeah, I told him what he was going. I told him what to do. I told you what he was going to do. So that makes them right in the ring with you because they want to be there with you. They just ain't put forth the effort to get there, but they want to be there. Every one of them want to be there. So you make them a part of you.
Yeah.
But because that's what the whole point of the message is the people's emotions. They pay their last $10 to keep see you, so you owe them a lot. You owe them a lot. You owe them more than you could ever imagine. Right. Now kids want to go out, blah blah blah, and do whatever, and don't think about what the people that pay, what they've done just to get to that arena.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's so important because that's who makes you anyway.
Right. Yeah. So definitely.
You're listening to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, and we'll be right back after these messages.
CHW is continuing the legacy of historic professional wrestling in Tennessee with monthly events at the Armory in Ashland City. CHW owner Mike Green has made it his mission to present the best pro wrestling shows in the Nashville area, and he has been delivering the goods. CHW Wrestling combines all the elements that Tennessee wrestling fans have come to expect. Action, suspense, athleticism, reality, stories, surprises, and excitement, all delivered by the finest professional wrestlers this state has to offer. Follow CHW Pro Wrestling on Facebook for the latest news, announcements, and show dates. And subscribe to Championship Productions on YouTube to see past events like the Ashland City Rumble and the Valentine's Massacre. Fun for the whole family with delicious and affordable concessions on site. Witness the action and excitement of CHW in Ashland City at the Armory. Family Wars, Love and Hate, Championship Gold. A CHW event is everything you're looking for in a night of live entertainment.
So, Chicken, in '87, you were in the WWF a little bit, and you wrestled Ricky Steamboat and the Ultimate Warrior. Can you tell us anything about working those guys?
Yeah, I never wrestled Jim, but that's the story. I can tell you a story about Jim.
Okay.
Hellweg, the Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, Steamboat and I had 2-3 matches. I think WWF. I think I said when I saw on TV was, and I look back now, I think it says WWF or whatever WWE. But yeah, he followed me and I followed him. We had a heck of a match, and he respected me highly from he respected me as a person. So when you got respect like that for each other, you can have a heck of a match. If you don't have that respect, you just ain't gonna have it. But he respected me, so we went. I don't know how much time we had, but I know we went 15 or 20 minutes. They kept it going because he had me going in such a good match. He I suplexed him back from the floor, back over the top rope, back in the ring. Blah blah blah. He worked with me like a boom. We worked a heck of a match, and he did this little thing off the top rope for a finish. But yeah, Ricky Steamboat, good Christian man.
Yeah,
a good man. He and Flair was just incredible together.
Oh, the best.
When I had a match with Flair, Flair followed me as much as I followed him, and we had a heck of a match.
Yeah, that's amazing. Did you have a story about the Warrior? You said.
Yeah. Okay. Back before Warrior ever got into business, we were working out together in the gym in around Atlanta. It's that little town. I can't think what it was where I was living. Anyway, we were working out together in the gym, and he was going to chiropractic school. But he said, Joe Weider called. He asked me, he said, Joe Weider called. He wanted me to come to California for bodybuilding for the guys there. And he asked me, should he go or should stay in school? I said, well, sometimes you may not get but one opportunity. So go ahead and go and see how it turns out. But anyway, Joe Weider left him broke on the street. But the biggest guy I've ever seen was Jim Hellweg, Ultimate Warrior. The biggest guy I've ever seen. A symmetrical guy. Everything was shaped perfectly. And I learned a lot of training stuff from him. But anyway, Red Bastien saw him and trained him to wrestle. So he started wrestling with Sting as the Blade Runners or something.
Right.
And they went to Memphis, and he'd call me. Every time he'd call me he'd call me to pick my brain about what he's doing, where he should go, and whatever. I said, make sure now. But Sting got sick, so they split him up, and he was by himself. So I told him to get to Texas and on that national TV, get on to Texas. So he went to Texas, the Dingo Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me, blah, blah, blah. And then Vince picked him right up and went to went to New York as the Ultimate Warrior. And he never called me again. And I saw him on TV that one day, and he passed away at 53 later on. But he never called me up. He made the first $1 million on dolls, on memorabilia.
Yeah.
But he never, but he was a good guy.
Yeah.
We worked out a lot, we were pretty. But like I said, we never wrestled each other or anything, but we just did a lot of work in the gym together.
Yeah, I saw where I messed up on that question. They have Warrior working Dick Donovan. You know who that guy is? Oh,
no, I don't know.
Dick Donovan. It was a Dick Donovan. He was just an enhancement guy, I guess.
I don't know. I guess so.
That's what I think. The research got a little mixed up on the.
I've heard that before. Me wrestling him and whatever. I think I wear the string where he's. I don't know. We had a little bit of similarity.
Yeah.
But he was he'd go ring them ropes and he'd blow up before he get started. He never was a wrestler. I don't think he ever got to really be a wrestler, but he got over pretty good.
Yeah.
I think he hurt a lot of folks. He hurt a lot of people.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I never worked with him, but I'm glad I didn't have to. But he was, I don't know, Scott, who was refereeing. One of Bob Armstrong's kids was
Scott Armstrong. Yeah.
It wasn't Scott. Yeah, I think it was Scott refereeing his match. And Vince had Warrior throw him over, so Scott over the top rope, take a bump out on the floor. He gave Scott $500 for that bump. I said, yeah, throw me again, brother. Yeah, throw me again. I'll go out the other side next time.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. But that's kind of a story on Hit Jim. But
I appreciate that.
But
Yeah, he got over to a degree, I think. I don't know about with the boys, but he got over, I think, okay. But he was such an incredible looking guy,
Yeah.
But like I said, he and I worked out a lot together. I learned a lot from him. He was good. But he called me for advice all those years. When he finally made it, then he didn't call me anymore. But that was okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you went down and worked for Jerry Blackwell in his promotion down in Georgia. You got any memories of working down there for Jerry Blackwell?
Yeah, Southern Championship Wrestling. Jerry Blackwell was one of the better, probably one of the best people I've ever known. He's probably 450 pounds doing a drop kick. That was his gimmick in Minnesota. Was a big guy doing that drop kick. Well, it was his finish. But yeah, he was such a really good guy, and he had a good group we called Southern Championship Wrestling. We had Wrestling 2 and me and David Bruno's son, David Martino, San Martino.
Yeah.
He and I were tag team partners for a while. David taught me how to be a babyface, how to be a real babyface. That's why I learned my babyface business from him. And but he was good. He'd beat him up, but I learned to get that mentality as a babyface, as a strong babyface. Because I work the same with the heel of babyface. Only time it makes me babyface is when I get provocation. Then I get turned. Every guy raises his fist to me, well, come on, baby, I'm ready to get, and I beat him up, Once you get provocation, I can be as big a heel as I want. Now, to back up again, get to a point, in our matches nowadays, I'm trying to go to another level. I've been 50 years, and now I'm working on how do I walk around the ring. I'm working on how to walk around the ring now after 50 years. How I don't like what I see walking around, so I'm changing that to some degree. So, you never learn it. You just keep working at it. That's all.
Yeah.
You got to keep working at it.
Yeah.
Keep getting better and better. Keep getting better and better.
In the early 90s, you worked a ton of WCW tapings. You got any stories during your time in WCW there?
Well, back when I was, that's kind of a funny little story. And I want to go out at the end of this thing with the funniest story the best story in my whole career. But
okay,
it was when I was in LaGrange. There was a band out, a music band that played all over the country, and one of them in the band was his brothers. He was a midget anyway, a little small guy, and I had him going on all my cars. He was always with me in all the matches I had locally around. Where I got, he helped me work at the gym when I had my gym. He was working there for me and whatever. At WCW now, in Atlanta, the name of that building, I forget what it was, but they'd hire about 40 strippers to sit in the crowd, and they loved this guy. They loved him because he was an island. He was about 4 foot tall, maybe 3.5 foot tall. So when his nose, I don't get that say that, but he loved sitting with all the strippers up in the crowd at WCW. So that's kind of a story about WCW. Now in the dressing room, there was always somebody walking around with sheets of paper, and it was always pretty stiff, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Now in comparison with WWE or WWF at the time, Vince would say, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about messing up. We'll fix it." So you never messed up because you didn't worry about it. Now they had all the worry on it, WCW, whatever. It was just a different atmosphere altogether. Vince was so good, I thought. Every time he was always in the gym working out with us. He was always there, man. Vince was the guy. He was always very polite. And I'd have my wife with me one time to the matches. He put her in the VIP seat. He was very, 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 very good. That's all I can say about Vince. Good man.
That's cool.
There's a lot of stories about him one way or another, but I don't know. But I'm nothing but admiration for Vince McMahon and his family.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know you want to tell one story that we want to get to because that's what you want to wrap up on, and I can't wait to hear that. But before that, we have one final question on our side. Take it away, Sheik.
So if you look back on your career, long career, sir, if you look back on your career and you say, that is the favorite match I've had so far, what would that match be?
I think one Saturday morning, it was cold out. I don't know what town we're in. I was rushing Steamboat. I remember I chopped him once in that sweat. You can see these sweat beads just flying off his chest. You see it on TV? That's I don't hold him down. I don't hold back. I can take skin off his chest. I take whatever I give. I don't give nothing I don't take. I don't take anything I give. But anyway, just and that just sweat was just flying out everywhere. But anyway, working with Ricky Steamboat was just it was a dream, I guess. I was like with Brad Armstrong. just some guys you work with, they were just now with Ronnie Garvin. Now Ronnie trying to kill you sometimes. He could be bipolar. Now I remember he put me in a sugar hole one time. Man, almost killed me, man. He's changing the finisher. That sugar hole is the most devastating hole in wrestling.
No doubt.
Yeah, anybody with a big chest can't get out of it. It'll put you out real quick. But anyway, Ronnie could be real easy or he could be tough. He was a tough guy though. But Ronnie Go was one of the toughest guys I've ever known in wrestling.
Yeah, we just had him on the show talking about his buddy Hoot Gibson. So we had a good time with that. So you tempted us with a funny story, and I think that's time to hear it. So let's hear it.
Okay, I was sitting in the airport someplace, I don't know, somewhere in the country, and there was a little girl sitting, I think not in the next seat next to me, but maybe 2 down. And there was an older lady sitting across from me. And the little girl looks, I had a pullover shirt on. I was a lot bigger in the chest and her hair was a little longer. And she looked at the front of me with kind of a confused look. And she looked at the back of me, kind of confused. She'd turn around and look at the front of me again, and then look at the back of me again, and with that confused look. And she got up and walked across the aisle and sat down to the lady. I said, "Ma'am, is that your granddaughter?" She shares a pretty little girl. And the little girl looked up at Granny. She said, "That lady talks awful funny." Because I looked like I had a female chest and long hair, so I was a lady all of a sudden.
Oh my God.
So that lady talks awful funny. I said, "Man, that's awesome." I never smartened her up either. I let her still think I was a lady. I didn't want to take that from her. I couldn't mess that one up.
No, that's a great, oh man.
When I do a talk at a church or something or whatever, that's when I like telling that story because it's such a real, it's such amusing, and it's just a real story because it was real, just a real little girl, it was a real emotion. Yeah. The emotions are just incredible this year, but especially the kids like that.
Yeah, the kids
with their mind,
tell
how
the
their
truth,
mind works
right?
and whatever.
Yeah.
I would never smarten her up. I just thought she's still a lady to her, I guess.
Yeah, the way you took that, you could have taken it several ways, and some of your buddies might have taken it very poorly, but you rolled with it. That's hilarious. I love that.
Oh, it was incredible. It was incredible. She looked. She had such a, not concerned look, but just a
curious,
kind of curious. Yeah, curious look. Man, that lady talks awful funny, Granny. Oh man, I didn't laugh or anything. I didn't tell any different.
Yeah,
I just thought that was the best. That was the best I had in my 50 years career. That was the best little deal that's ever happened to me, I think.
That's so funny.
And I like to mention one other guy while I'm talking.
Please.
Ox Baker.
We love Ox.
Foxy, we call it. He was an incredible guy. He would be big boisterous. Next thing you know, he'd have the kids in his lap and selling pictures and stuff. He'd be a big tough guy. Next thing, like I said, he'd be the little like Santa Claus with the kids in his lap, and he'd be signing pictures. So yeah, Oxy, he always painted his toenails red while his wife was living. She died. He quit painting his toenails. But I saw him at a fan fest, and he looked like he lost a couple 100 pounds. But he managed me in the Highlands one time. But he and I just were kind of hit off. Oxy, I call him. But Ox Baker was quite an individual, quite a guy. But he was before I ever got in wrestling. I saw him on the TV in the movie, right? I said, that's probably the only guy I've ever been really scared of. I think if I met him on a dark alley somewhere, but that big match, that big burly. But yeah, he could come across that way. But he was like a little lamb.
Yeah,
he looked like a big gorilla, but he was a little lamb, man. That was the nice thing about him.
Yeah. Did you ever try his shepherd's pie? Apparently, he made a great shepherd's pie.
I wouldn't. No, I never did.
Okay, just a small.
I remember Killer Khan fixing. I remember eating from Killer Khan stuff. But he fixing Korean barbecue, I think, or whatever.
That's good stuff.
Nothing to do with that, but I just remember that.
I bet that was good though. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Ox, though, he was such a genteel man.
Yeah.
To be so big and so big and looking,
Oh, we love Ox. I mean, if you drew a pro wrestler, you could draw Ox Baker. That's
you so good, buddy.
Yeah,
he was
love it.
Another guy. He used to pick. He got in the ring and he had DTs when he get in the ring. He'd be picking bugs out of the sky. Big old blonde-headed guy, big 300-pounder. It didn't look like a body, just a big guy, but he'd be picking Crazy Luke Graham.
Oh yeah.
My first show I went to, he wrestled. What was it? He wrestled Luke Fez.
Okay.
So Luke Fez was going to do some announcing at matches coming up. So I did a lot of wrestling in my match, so he could because he was a wrestler. He was a real wrestler. Luke Fez was. So he could really announce that my match anyway through wrestling moves and whatever. So I never talked to him, but I tried to work for him anyway.
Yeah.
But it was quite enough to be his first match. That was his last match show with him. And but Luke Fez was quite a guy.
No doubt. Yeah. Yeah. We just talked about him on the last episode where he and Buddy Rogers wrestled, and where Buddy couldn't take the title from Lou, and that ended up creating the WWF. And I just butchered that story, Quinton, but you know what I mean. So
yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this, Chick. This has been incredible. Really, seriously.
I appreciate you more than you ever know, because I feel like, after 79 years old and 50-some years in the business, it's coming to an end. That's what I'm so excited about this weekend coming up in New York. It's like a brand new beginning.
That's
awesome.
It's
like when I started 50 years ago training and working out. Now I'm working out the same way, except I'm increasing my workout because it's the beginning of the end. You got to go out. You got to finish a lot better than you started.
Amen.
So when you can leave that legacy behind you, you got to leave that legacy. That's all. As with humility, you got to leave that legacy with humility.
Absolutely.
No room for arrogance.
Right.
The most arrogant guy in the business never got over. I hate to mention his name, but he probably tell you the same. Lex Luger was the most arrogant guy ever, and he never got over. Now he's humble because he's in a wheelchair. The Lord humbled him down to now he's good. He's doing testimonies and doing working for the Lord and whatever. Now he even talk to me now. He wouldn't talk to me before. He wouldn't even think about talking to me.
Oh,
but
no.
Anyway, Lex made 100% turnaround.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Well, Chick, once again, you're going to be Captain's Corner GrappleCon 4 Back to Lutz, April 11th, the Residence Inn, Tampa Suncoast Parkway, 2101 North Point Parkway, Lutz, Florida. I hope you make a ton of money in New York. I hope you make a ton of money in Florida. Tell us all about it when it's over with. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story today with us, sir.
Well, I thank you very much for having me. Like I said, it's trying to get all I can get in now on my way out. I just want to leave a legacy and be real. And I don't like dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's. I just want to be who I am. The Golden Boy Chick Diamond right here in LaGrange, Georgia.
Yes.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you greatly.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
New York this coming weekend, New York.
All right.
Leave at 7:30 in the morning, though. That's bad. Get at the airport at 5 o'clock. But anyway.
Safe travels,
buddy. It was
buddy.
good to talk with you. I appreciate you guys calling me more than you'd ever know.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hear from you soon.
Take care. Thank you. All right, guys, that was the one and only Golden Boy Chick Donovan. We'll be right back to wrap things up after these messages on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Relive the glory days of Memphis wrestling with the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. Each week, we go back in time to review USWA Championship Wrestling from the 1990s, episode by episode. Join us for watch-alongs, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive interviews with people who were there and lived it. Whether you grew up watching it or you're discovering it for the first time, this podcast is your ringside seat to Memphis wrestling history. It's all a part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. Listen now at USWApodcast.com.
Hi, this is Mike Needham, host of the Reckless Abandon podcast with Mike Needham. We invite you to jump on your favorite podcast platform and search for the Reckless Abandon podcast and give us a listen. I'm sometimes joined by a part-time podcaster, part-time co-host, and full-time wife, Tiffany Nicole. We talk wrestling, we talk pop culture, we talk local events, local happenings in West Tennessee, and a ton of other stuff. But be sure to check out the Reckless Abandon podcast. Find us on Facebook. Also, look up the Microgroup Podcasting family on Facebook and see some of our other podcasts we have out there. Until next time, make good choices and always remember, no dollar, no dice.
All right, we are back, and guys, man, that was an awesome episode. I mean, Golden Boy Chick Donovan told his story like no one else could, talking all the history from his career, incredible stuff. We even got the story about the talking dog. Now, you take that for how you want to take it, and believe it if you will, but man, that is a wild story, and I'm so happy that Chick shared that with us because he doesn't share that story very much. So thank you, Chick. Very much appreciative. Really, really appreciate that. That's going to be an all-time story for the podcast, so thank you. Once again, talking to Chick, he's going to be there with our buddy Nick and Jeff Van Camp, Lord Humongous at GrappleCon 4 Back to Lutz. It's April 11th at the Residence Inn, Tampa Suncoast Parkway, 2101 North Point Parkway, Lutz, Florida. And, you guys have heard all about it already. Don't miss that one. If you're going to be in the area, be there or be square. One more time again, the Portland Wrestling Expo 2, Saturday, February 21st, Holiday Inn, Portland Airport, 8439 Northeast Columbia Court, Portland, Oregon. Guys, time is running out. Get on it. If you're going to make it to the Portland Wrestling Expo 2, you've heard us talk to all the stars. Honestly, how can you miss it? So get out there, get your tickets, go to Captain's Corner on Facebook, find out how, follow the links, do it. Go to Portland. It'll be awesome. All right, guys. Next episode's going to be awesome, and I'm not going to share it right here, but I promise if you go to @GMBMPW on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X, you'll find out all about it in due time. And I promise you're going to want to find out about this one. Guys, for all of our new followers on Facebook, we greatly appreciate y'all for jumping on with us and checking out what we got going on. Stick around for more. I promise you're going to enjoy it. All right, guys, that's all I got for today. So for the Golden Boy Chick Donovan, the Plastic Sheik Jared Street, the Territory Wrestling Guru Quinton Quarisma, and myself, this has been Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling. We'll see y'all next time.
Don't forget,
The Golden Boy from Hollywood, California, Chick Donovan. Like I told you people last week, the Golden Boy in all his splendor and all his glory has returned on the wings of the Great Eagle. And the Great Eagle told me I was going down and I was going to be some chump. And I was going to become the international heavyweight champion. And brother, right in front of you proves that the Eagle don't lie. Because the Golden Boy can be sassy. The Golden Boy can be nasty. But beat me, baby, if you can.
With a tear in my eye. This is the greatest moment in my life.
We'll see you next week. And until then, so long for now.
This has been a James Rock Street production.